get some things straight before we start. This is an update by Valerie and only. Okay, so she's going to give us an update. We are not taking any board action today. But we have on the agenda on Thursday just an opportunity to discuss possible action, whatever. We don't know what's coming up. So this is an update. We have more discussion on Thursday. We will be taking public comment at the end of the meeting, as we always do. That public comment will be directed at this body, meaning the commissioners only. Will not be misdirected to the treasurer. And so I hope we're all clear on that. And with that, Laura, would you like to give us an update, please?
Certainly. Yeah, make sure your mic is on and down. Sure. Here you can put the fan on.
I was going to say, I'd like to, since there are a good many of us here today, I thought that...
Valerie, this update's to us,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
What you see in the papers is an orchestrated and vile campaign to destroy my character, to protect corrupt County Commissioner J.R. Iman, who has been knowingly protected by Greg Chilcott. The further purposes of this character assassination were to cover up missing files that were intentionally removed from the Treasurer's office by Joanne Johnson. These missing files contain receipts and documentation that include expenditures of federal monies and to hide the illegal selling of tax liens by Linda Isaacs and Mary Borden. I will bring suit against these parties for their very torturous actions against me. My office is a crime scene of past illegal activities. I have contacted and requested a full investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who describes public corruption as their #1 priority of criminal investigation, because public corruption poses a fundamental threat to our national security and our way of life. J.R. Iman requested me to stop asking questions and not talk to other commissioners as I attempted to gain access to the accounts of the Treasury office at First Interstate Bank. J.R. Iman was disturbed that apparently I was attempting to do my job. I was deprived personal access to these accounts for over 3 weeks. J.R. prohibited me from knowing the combination of the Treasurer's safe. I pleaded with Greg Chilcott and Jeff Burrows to take action on this. My pleas fell on deaf ears. Greg, you know that I understand that MACO has advised county commissioners that you cannot remove me at will. So why place this fallacious press story to the contrary? I have done nothing illegal. It is time to leave my personal life alone. I am not a criminal, and I will not be treated as one. It is clear that numerous records of receipts and deposits have been removed from the Treasurer's office. When asked, Clarice Murphy advised that these files may have been removed for an audit. However, a clerk volunteered that Joanne Johnson had taken them to protect us from Mary Hudson Smith. Mary was in office for less than 2 months, and over 3 years later, there are 3 years of documentation that is missing. A reading of Montana law shows that every single tax lien assignment for the past 4 years has been illegally affecting the rights of our citizens and the liability of this county. Attorney Bill Nelson and Hudgens have only scratched the surface. Please review Zinvest versus Hudgens, DV 12-517. Attorney's fees were awarded in this case, and the county can be liable for these amounts as well. This orchestrated attack that you've read about in the papers went into overdrive following my request that this information be made public and we deal with these matters. It is for these and other reasons and more that I request that Joanne Johnson and Clarice Murphy return any missing files and other secret away or removed files personally to me in the Treasurer's office. Commissioners in compliance with their own rules be prohibited from communicating with department employees during their work activities. In compliance with Montana law, office policies will be enacted by me that will ensure that these documents will never be taken from the Treasurer's office again. The county commissioners should allocate necessary funds for the protections of public records in my office, including a security guard, or I shall seek a court order to do so. I will establish office protocols in accordance with Montana state law for the proper disbursement and keeping of all proper funds. Montana law has been held in contempt by this commission and by prior county treasurers. This will end today. I wish to thank Commissioners Foss and Stoltz for their continued commitment to reveal the truth and do what is right. Because I fear for my safety, I have made arrangements and retained personal security. Thank you to the citizens of Ravalli County who have demanded a county government operated by the rule of law and not by the rule of the media. Thank you.
Valerie, could we have that so I can enter it into the
I
record?
will
please?
provide one.
Well, I'd like it now, so I make sure I have what you just read.
We have one that we will provide, Linda.
Okay, board, discussion, questions for Valerie? Public comment? Is there any public comment? Can you please state your name for the record?
We need them to come up to the mic. We've had a lot of concerns about that. We can move that mic.
My name is Kathleen Driscoll. I live here in Hamilton. I'm Jeff Burrow's he's my commissioner. And I just want to state that that's a really wonderful example of deflection. And I would like to get back on subject of Valerie and her issues with handling our funds. So I would like the commission to look into the fact that it's always when you're cornered that you tend to want to take on to another subject. So if you could please somehow have Valerie come back and give her update appropriately and tell us exactly what she's been doing rather than everybody else that she's pulled into the swamp with her. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. I saw another hand.
Hello, I'm Vinda Mellis, and I guess I'm walking into this meeting a little bit oblivious of what all has been going on under my nose. I didn't know that any of this was occurring. However, I've got a story I'd like to tell you about something that I think is related. And that is that, as most of you know, my husband and I are both realtors, and a while back, Regina put on a class to let people know how the new online services were going. And my husband attended, and later on that week he was perusing the internet, and all of a sudden he said, "Whoa, what happened to Tudor here?" Now Tudor is there's a piece of property that we own in Tudor. We're selling it to a lady who doesn't have a whole lot. She's supposed to be making her payments through Farmers Bank, and every now and then she does fall behind. And evidently that happened in May of 2012. She did not have enough money in the account to pay the taxes in the end of May. Now, I'm not advocating that. If I had known that, we would have made them up and taken care of it with her later on. But we didn't know that. We had no clue. Now I find out that on July 15th, the taxes went to assignment, or to auction, which later went to assignment to some company down in Arizona. We still didn't know anything about it until Larry happened to stumble upon this. And when I started investigating, the company down in Arizona said, talk to your to Ravalli County. Well, they basically said, it's past due and there's a lien on it. I said, well, how did this happen without anybody knowing it? So I did meet Valerie for the first time and asked her how it happened. And I have to say, she helped me a great deal. She got a hold of the people down there. They said, yes, we did send notice out, but the notice came back undeliverable. And evidently it went to the Tudor address, and the lady who's buying it, she is a truck driver. So she was not notified. I was not notified. The bank was not notified. And, you know, I was absolutely appalled that we can have a tax lien on a piece of property that tax has been paid on for the past 10 years. The taxes for this past billing were paid, and we knew nothing about it. So, frankly, I was wondering what's going on here that the property owners can have something like this done without any knowledge or any way to cure it. Now, whether Trudy knew that it was behind or not, I don't know, but I know that none of the rest of us knew it was behind. And I would think that a notice should have gone out to somebody, so this whole thing brings back a scene that I had 2 or 3 years ago when a lady was sitting in my office in tears, and she was bravely telling me that she'd lost her husband and she thought she needed to sell her house, and in looking I found that she had a tax lien, and she said, oh my gosh, how did that happen? What's, you know, and I don't know her story. I don't know whether she should have known that it was going on there, but I'll tell you, her face sitting across my office has come back to me, and as most of you know, I am 100% for property owners' rights, and that's not the right not to pay taxes, but it is the right to know what's going on with their property, and I'm not sure that we're getting that.
So, Linda, this property on Tudor, it's in this person's name?
It's in my name with a notice of what am I trying to say, JR?
NPI, notice.
Yes, NPI, purchaser's intent.
Okay, so, and you received nothing, and the property's in your name, and the taxes are presumably in your name as well?
You know, I do not know the answer to that. I know the taxes are paid by Farmer State Bank, and they didn't know anything about it, and so I do not know the answer to that.
With the board's
I think they are.
permission, Howard, is that suggesting they do, or is there something that?
Without more information, I really can't give you any kind of conclusion. When somebody purchases a property through a private contract, the fact that they're purchasing the property becomes a public record, typically through what's called an NPI. But beyond that, we really need to look into it to know anything more than that.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
So my concern is for all those homeowners out there who may be right on top of things, or maybe they're like a little old lady who's always let her husband take care of things, or like us who thought that the homeowner and the purchaser and the escrow officer was doing their job. You know, there should be a few more protections there for that homeowner, and I'm not sure that we've got them.
Thank you.
Okay.
Public comment.
Hello, my name is LaVon Miller. I'm Joanne Johnson's sister. First of all, I want to say that Joanne was a dedicated employee for 21 years at the county, actually 24 years at the county. JR is a dedicated employee, Mary Borden, Linda Isaacs. They're all very dedicated employees. They had no reason at all to do any corruption. Joanne probably doesn't even know what the word corruption means. I want to state for the record that whatever Val's trying to pull out of the slums is not true. And Joanne tried to teach Val stuff. She has notes of how she tried to teach her and it didn't work. I'm sure if this happens to go to court and cost our money tons of money for an attorney, it's going to be ridiculous. Let's just go forward. Joanne stepped out of the way so that Val could continue on. So did the other gals. And it wasn't sour grapes. That's just what they decided to do for the better of everybody.
Thank you. Other public comment, please.
I'm Dan Floyd. There was a lot of allegations made, and I assume you're going to look into them, but I find it very unusual that we have 3 key people in an apartment all quit essentially at the same time when they were very close to retirement. And with the allegations that have been made, I think it really is going to take an outside look at the department. And I really think you ought to hire an independent outside accounting firm, do a forensic accounting of all the activities that have taken place down there to see if any of the allegations are really true. So I would like you very much to consider putting aside the funds to hire an independent auditor, especially to check invoices and payables. I think that's really key. I don't know what the plan is. The fact that Valerie did say she talked to other agencies about this throws a whole other light on it. And I know you can't really talk about it based on that, but anyway, I would want you to consider doing an outside auditor. So,
Thank you, Dan. Rick?
My name's Rick Borden. Mary Borden's my wife. She is not close to retirement. She did not leave when the other people left, as all of you know. She stayed until she found employment elsewhere. As far as the issue on the tax that was brought up a little bit ago, I think you commissioners know how much money in back taxes the people on the tax side of the office were responsible in gaining for your coffers. Not illegally, but gaining for your coffers. I believe the figure is somewhere over, I'm not even going to quote a number. So you people know what was going on. You people know what my wife did. You people know what my wife did for your county before she left. She did not mess up books. If you want to take a look at how the protested taxes are handled, it's a 4-year process. And if any of you on the board know the process, you know that that's true. A person's property cannot be taken for 4 years from the time it's declared delinquent, and of one of these businesses that comes out and takes the assignment on it, it's done. I'm not going to go into the procedure of it because you people probably don't care particularly how long it takes and what all is involved. But it's a 4-year process. Do all of you understand that? Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Other public comment, please. Chris?
Chris Hockman, Hamilton. To put things into perspective, listening to the troubling allegations just recounted for us, I have for multiple years now paid attention to the annual audits that are done here for the past, I think, 4 years at least, by Foltz Public Accounting Firm of Missoula, that I carefully read the findings in each of those annually, and I always look to see if there's something that I can sink my teeth into, and I haven't found it yet. I haven't seen evidence of it in the annual audits that are done as required under the Single Audit Act of Montana. So that is just to allay my fears about what I heard a bit, perhaps. I wanted to bring that up. So please, people look at the audits over the past 4 years, and I did ask for, I believe it was last week, for the board to consider a special audit to look at the near term and use perhaps a different auditor than the previous. I think I advocated to use an auditor that the General Services Office, Montana government head, just to provide a secondary set of eyes to look at this. But it sounds as though that there's a lot of other directions that this is going in now that won't include that particular suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Public comment, please. Any other public comment? Wallace?
My name is Hollis Poe. I'm here as a concerned taxpayer, citizen of Ravalli County. This situation seems to be one that at the get-go looked like it was an effort to stop the messenger. And this raises a degree of curiosity for me and a number of other people. I would like to ask if we could take a closer look at this as citizens, look into the facts and look into the communications so that we as citizens could determine whether to exonerate or implicate members of the county, members of this board. So I would ask, Commissioner Susie made mention at lunch on Friday that there was a number of emails that existed between these commissioners, Chief Executive Officer, former treasurers, Marie Keaton, Mary Hanson-Smith, Joanne Johnson, and I would ask if I could be made available to those by having electronic copies of those, please. And I think that the press would do good to look at facts here at home, along with the facts that they're looking at clear on the East Coast and Missoula and other places. But I believe that if we all take a good, serious look at this, there's a possibility that this could work out. There's also a possibility that things could come to the surface. We need to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Hollis. Other public comment, please.
My name's Trista Smith, and I'm with the library. And I just wanted to thank the commission and especially the finance department for getting money out to us. It's a little off topic, but I did want to thank you guys for listening to the concerned organizations and getting us some funds. So thank you.
Thanks, Trista. Other public comment? Other public comment?
My name is Jan Wisniewski, and for once I agree with Kathleen Driscoll. We can get that on the record.
Ditto.
All the newspapers here too, by golly. She's exactly right. Whenever you got a problem, you throw up a big smoke screen and a stink, and I think that's what's been happening here to kind of cover up what Valerie has unearthed. As I understand, lawyers are taught in law school. I may be wrong, but I heard this from another party, and you can quote that too, that if you got the law on your side, you argue the law. If you got the facts on your side, you argue the facts. If you got neither, you devastate the other man's character. And I think that's what's happened here. So I think, you know, if nobody's got anything to hide when the bean counters come in and the investigators, hey, it'll all be cleared. The smoke will clear, everybody get back to life again, and it'll be a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Other public comment? Brim?
Red Cleveland, citizen of Ravalli County for a few years. I sit here before you guys quite a few different times. And the main thing is, when the first allegations came up, I think it was the duty of the county commissioners and our county attorney to investigate these allegations to the end. This coming in with a big long story of accusing everybody else for your faults. I remember an engineer one time telling me, you can't boondoggle BS, dazzle them with the fancy footwork. So I think that's what's been going on here today. And I think that some of the commissioners are very privy to some of the things that were said here today from my conversation with a certain county commissioner. We won't get into that, but when it comes around, the push comes to shove, it will come out before some attorneys. Thank you.
Thank you, Red. Yes.
My name's Lori Riley. I'm a citizen of Ravalli County. I live in Corvallis. And I came here today because I wanted to hear the treasurer's report about what we've been reading in the newspaper about school districts, fire departments, libraries, entities in Ravalli County not receiving the payments that they need to do business. And I'm a taxpayer, so I feel like this is my money that needs to be paid to these entities on my behalf to run this county properly. And all of these people came here today for a treasurer's report, and we don't have a treasurer's report. We don't have a status of reconciliations, where these collections are, where these payments are. I think that that's what these people want to know about. And we don't have any answers to any of those questions. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lori. Public comment. Nancy?
Thanks, Nancy Balance, Representative House District 89. I have gotten a lot of calls and emails from constituents who want to know what's going on in the treasurer's office. And I have heard a lot of rumor, I've heard a lot of innuendo, I've heard a lot of allegations on both sides, but I have heard very few facts that I have been comfortable repeating to anyone. And I think that there were comments made about an independent review, and I think it's past time for that. I think given the fact that we've seen, and this is not making accusations of anyone, but we've seen, what, 3-4 treasurers in the last 3 years? There's something deeper than any one person and any one treasurer. And it's time to take a look at that, whether that is a forensic accountant coming in to do a review or audit, whether that's the AG's office, whomever, but it needs to be independent. There are now too many biases on each side of this issue. People are too invested in their own beliefs about what has gone on. It's time to bring someone in who's independent, who can take a look at this and relieve the people of Ravalli County from the concerns that they feel about whether or not their taxes are even being recorded, whether they're being used properly, whether services are going to be provided with those tax dollars. It's past time, and I think we need an independent review.
Thank you, Nancy. I thought I saw another hand somewhere. Public comment, please. Is there any public comment? Yes.
My name is Darrell Poole, and as a fairly recent resident of this county, I'm pretty objective, I think, about what's going on. I think if there's something to hide, the people will try to hide it. And if there's nothing to hide, then they will try to find out what is wrong. And that's what I would like this commission to do, either independent or whatever means they need to do it. If Valerie is wrong, I think that'll come out. If there's something wrong in the Treasury Department, I think that'll come out, and I think that's what we want. That's what we want in this county. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment, please. Is there any more public comment? Last call for public comment. All right, thank you all for coming, and is there any board discussion?
Should we let them know that this is on Thursday? Just go.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. On our agenda for Thursday at, Mr. Chair, 1 p.m.?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. So at 1 o'clock, we are meeting to discuss a independent investigation on the Treasurer's Department. So 1 o'clock on Thursday, I'm sure it'll be not that long, but we'll see how it goes. Depends on how the conversation and public comment is. Thank you.
Any other board discussion?
It says 11 on the website.
That's a different
11
meeting.
o'clock is different, yes.
This is a separate meeting, separate issues.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you for, oh, are there any public comment on items not otherwise on the agenda? Chris?
Perhaps this, I should have said it earlier, but
as you can see from the attendance here today, this is probably going to be one of those times where it would have been useful to have had a recording of the event as opposed to just Ms. Wiles's recollection. You saw how difficult it was for her to get the minutes of the comments made by Ms. Stamey, and you can see she didn't get them. So that is certainly a cause for concern. I, as a citizen, would really like to have an audio file available on our new website for meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Any other public comment on items not otherwise on the agenda?
Yes, I have one.
Jan did.
It's from
the student report.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, Charlotte Gray, Chairman. Why could we not conduct a report of what's going on?
When we have our other elected officials and our department heads come in, they give us a report. They generate their report and they bring it to us.
Okay, what happened with the treasurer's report?
We all heard the same report.
I know we did, but is that a report for what's going on in the office? This
Frankly, it's not what I was expecting, but
it wasn't what I was expecting.
all right. Any other public comment on items not otherwise on the agenda? Okay, we are recessed until, we are here. Legal insurance. Yeah, let's take a 5-minute recess.